Welcome to Chok Muay Chats episode 29, the first episode of 2025, and what a year we had in 2024. Welcome to this podcast. I'm Joe Comerford, commentator, content creator, former fighter, and now a bit overweight. But new year, new me, so we're all about to change that. Please like, share, and subscribe this episode amongst your friends. I'm here with my special guest today, Muay Thai Testament, and, well, actually colloquially known as Arm. Welcome, sir.
What's up? How we doing?
Yeah, thanks for coming on again. This is the second time we've had Arm on this episode. So, let's get straight into the nitty and gritty.
Let's go.
What's happened for you after 2024?
2024 was big. A lot of things came in, a lot of opportunities, a lot of different work. I am now fully into the Muay Thai circuit, if you know what I mean. So what happened was I started Muay Thai Testament at the end of 2023. And then in the beginning of 2024, I started to do less on my own page, on my own individual stuff, and then started working for RWS, which is if you guys didn't know, is a promotion in Thailand at Ratchadamnern Stadium. But now I am leaving RWS to focus more on my own stuff, taking a big risk. So yeah, 2025 is going to be a very wild year, either a very good year or very depressing year. It can turn out any way it wants. So it is what it is, yeah.
I appreciate the sort of existential outlook on that one, bro. But I think there's a lot of big opportunities for you. I mean, you know a lot about the sport. You've been deeply involved in the industry. I mean, we've worked together on RWS. So for those who don't know, you would have heard my sultry, smooth voice.
No, of course they know.
Yeah, of course they know.
That Australian accent is recognizable from anywhere in the world, any corner, bro.
I know, it makes people's ears bleed. But we've worked together. Can you tell people what sort of job you actually...
So I just did marketing work for them, like social media, all that stuff. Not too deep into it, but yeah, basically all the marketing stuff, media direction, a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, Arm was a real help to us on the commentary team. We would have meetings and sort of discuss like the narrative of the fighters, which I think you and I have talked about before, and how important it is now to start pushing the narratives of fighters, because that's what gets people engaged, and that's sort of like a big focus of your social media is directing narratives about some of the fighters.
Yeah, it's because it's a very undiscovered side of Muay Thai, with the language barrier, with the cultural barrier, a lot of different walls and impediments that keeps people outside of Thailand, or even outside of the Muay Thai circuit. Even people within Thailand wouldn't be able to deeply grasp and understand all the details and all the storylines behind the Muay Thai world. So I was able to help RWS with that for a short bit, and then also on my own page, that is what I was focusing on.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys aren't aware, this is Muay Thai Testament, the man, the brains behind that wonderful page that educates you to know more than people on the internet about.
You know,
Muay
that
Thai.
was supposed to be a one-time intro, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was supposed to be. No, so what it was supposed to be is, it's supposed to be know more about Muay Thai than people on the internet for one episode, and then know more about Muay Thai than etc. etc. So different ones in like every sort of clip.
Well, it's a good catchline. I mean, it's like...
But then I kept that because it did so well. So
Yeah, it's like me and in the world of Muay Thai.
In the world of Muay Thai.
You know, like people at work, at my real job, they just scream from the hallways now, in the world of Muay Thai.
Really?
Yeah, just to take the...
I don't have that, but...
Mate, you'll get it soon. You'll get it soon.
Hopefully not.
Oh.
Maybe that's because I don't talk to enough English-speaking people. So, like, my social life and my, like, online life is, like, totally different.
Well, new year, new Arm. There you go. So
Okay, I'll look forward to it. Not really.
the next step, I mean, one of the topics that you wanted to talk about was the pound for pound fighters at the moment.
Yeah, like even today before coming out here to this spectacular state of the art condo with
the studio.
with a manual fountain behind it. I was doing a content that is going probably out before this podcast. It's like the best fighters in each division on every promotion. So even ONE RWS traditional Muay Thai, a couple of Thai fight guys, there are the best in each division. So I hope that would make it easier for people to follow the sport. But when you talk pound for pound, I do have a clear, like, I have a 6-man list of fighters that I think are the pound for pound best at the time of this recording.
Yep.
But before that, who's your best fighter in Thailand right now? Or in Muay Thai right now?
Nadaka. Does he make your list?
No.
Oh, I would say Nadaka.
Nah, fanboy about Nadaka for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, look, we just spoke about this before. One of the issues about my knowledge is that, okay, yes, I can speak survival type, but I can't read and write. So my knowledge is restricted a lot by language barriers. And also, like, I just haven't got the time to be watching stadium shows all the time. So the ones that really bring my attention is the entertainment circuit. And because that's the...
But Nadaka's more like traditional.
Yeah, it's more traditional, but...
Whatever RWS is, like traditional entertainment.
Well, I would say it's part of the entertainment circuit, but maintains like a lot of the
traditional essence
of it. So that's kind of, my focus is like trying to bring attention to the sport, as I said, like at an entry level for people. So Nadaka, before Danny bashed him.
Riteoda.
Yeah, Riteoda.
Before Riteoda, can you let's fanboy about Nadaka for a bit?
Okay.
So to the people who don't really follow Muay Thai, or some people only follows ONE, Nadaka is a 115-pound fighter right now. He is one of the best because he has won championships in 3 weight class, I think.
Yeah.
3 or 4, 3, right?
3. And then I did hear he was going to go for a 4th. I heard on the grapevine that when I did not the second RWS Japan, when I did the first one, that perhaps he was going to go for a fourth division.
I think he's gonna like do the boxing sort of stuff. Like he's gonna like move up each division, try to get gold in every division, do a Manny Pacquiao. Because everyone outside Thailand, every other country, they fight to win trophies or championships. Thai people, they just fight to survive. With Nadaka, the difference between him and other past foreign fighters or Japanese fighters is that he's so fast. He gets better every single fight. That, like, me and you had a conversation about that before. He's one of them fighters where Thai people rate him higher than one of our own. So he's a different breed. He comes from Awa Sports, which is the same gym as Shimong, Ryoya, Asahi. You'd see Shimong on ONE Championship doing so well, and is one of the best in the 130 division, 130 pounds division. Nadaka is even many leagues or levels above that. So the storyline for Nadaka right now is him versus Kunsuklek, because Nadaka is, like, for most people, the best in 115. Kunsuklek is undisputedly the best in 118. So they're trying to get that fight to go.
How do you think he'd go against Kunsuklek?
I don't think they ever fight.
Yeah.
Because Kunsuklek's still growing. He's still gonna go up and up. And it's like Nadaka is racing to reach Kunsuklek, and I don't know what's gonna happen by the time that... Theoretically, the thing is, I know Kunsuklek, I don't know Nadaka, like, personally. But ignoring that, I still think RWS rules, right? So, because if it's in, like, traditional Muay Thai, it's very different. Traditional Muay Thai, they don't score every round equally. RWS, they score every round equally and open scoring. In RWS, I still give it to Kunsuklek. You know Deer, the promoter of Getpet. Getpet is like one of the biggest promotions in Thailand. Deer said on his live stream, 2 days ago, or either 2 days ago or yesterday, that Kun Sik Lek is so good in RWS rules that even if Nadaka is at the same weight as him, he's still gonna find a hard time beating Kun Sik Lek. So I'm trusting the promoter. That I'll go with Kun Sik Lek because more like technicality. Nadaka has the speed and has the in and out movement. Kun Sik Lek has like the experience, the complete skill set. He can go forward too if he needs to. One thing is Kun Sik Lek's durability. We don't know how hard he is in the body. We had seen him by Japanese fighters who was a caliber below Nadaka before. So yeah, I think I'll still back Kun Sik Lek.
What do you think about pound for pound though? Who's
Yeah, let's get back to
that. Don't go through your whole list because that spoils your content.
I can go through that because my content is just more every division.
Oh, so, okay, all right. Give us your quick rundown.
Can I turn on my phone just to check it?
Absolutely not. No phones allowed. Yeah,
okay.
No, I'm kidding.
So just to not miss a single name, 6 names I got for pound in Muay Thai right now. For in no particular order, by the way. First name Pratanchai. He's so good that it's hard to find an opponent for him. So he literally went on Facebook, ranted about him not being scared of anyone. A few months ago back, he went on Facebook or in an interview. He said he's gonna move up 10 pounds just to find an opponent because he needs fights. He's on the tail end of his career now. Any Muay Thai purist would know that his name is so high up there. Samad Payakarun, the GOAT of Muay Thai, he said that there are very few fighters he likes in the newer generation. There's Lertsila, there's Sanchai, and then he also likes Pratanchai. So if that's not a compliment, I don't know what is. The only thing about Pratanchai is that he lost to Joseph Lasiri in that fashion.
Yeah.
So people internationally don't really rate him. But when you look through his career, through his resume, with his reputation, his skill set, his fight IQ, his experience, I know I said that this list is in no particular order, but this might be the best name on that list. So Pratanchai, second name Petsaman.
Yeah.
Definitely the best in 122. 122 pounds is the best division in Thailand right now. I'm certain of that. It's so stacked on so many levels. You have to be really good to make it to the top. But there's one undisputed name at the very pinnacle of the division, and that's Petsaman. That is who my boy Petsila is fighting at the end of the month. So we'll get into that at the end of the podcast. Then there's Lamnamun Lek. Lamnamun Lek, 2-time RWS champion, but he was a fighter of the year before that. One of the best. He's just a master at his craft. He's so skillful.
Another one that it was hard to find opponents for as well.
Extremely hard to find opponents for that makes sense. He
even had to go to. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah. He even had to go to Cambodia.
But Lamnamun Lek, he's going to ONE now, so he's going to try to prove himself under a different. Well, I don't want to say rule set, but different promotion, different gloves, different amount of rounds, different scoring criteria. He's one of the best, I think. And the fourth name on the list, Super Lek. The Rotang fight doesn't count, by the way. I know a lot of fanboys are going to be listening to this and think about Super Lek being in this list and Rotang not being in the list because of that fight. A 5-pound handicap should never happen in Muay Thai, at least in this era, just for safety reasons. But it's what it is, bro. Super Lek, not because of the Rotang fight, but because of him being at such a high caliber in the stadium days, and one of the things that I'm most impressed about Super Lek is that he is a femur, so he is known. Well, the kicking machine, right, in ONE Championship. But in the stadiums, he was also a clincher. So when he is behind, he can still always go forward and clinch the other guy to death. He can out-clinch an actual clincher. So one of the things that I like most about him is his versatility. And then now with ONE Championship, with kickboxing, with the small gloves in Muay Thai, he now like learned so much more like in terms of hands, and he's one of them guys who I think he might be the only guy who has fully adapted his stadium game to not become a puncher and not trade hands, but still be able to knock people out in small gloves under ONE Championship. So that's why he's there. And also just finished Haggerty within one round, moving up 10 pounds. Like it's nothing. And then fifth name, Daniel. As you said, Riteira, and then Daniel beat him. So I guess Daniel is there.
Yeah.
I was always going to say the winner of that fight is in like a pound for pound.
Yeah. I think we both spoke about that. Yeah.
Even before the fight.
Yeah.
What was your reaction to that fight?
I was a bit sad. I've been a fanboy of Riteira since he was young. Like even since pretty much like mid-career was when, like mid-fight career for me, which is like 2014, 2015 was when I started taking notice of him. And then also I was actually a fan of Namtan, his partner, when she was fighting on Muay Thai Angels back back in 2016 because she fought my friend. And big fan of her style as well. So, yeah, I've been following him for a long time. I was a little bit sad on the inside when he lost. But the best man wins. And I've got to tell you what, Danny put on an absolute clinic on just sticking to a strategy, adjusting, and then going back to it, taking out that lead leg. Amazing work. Like, just stuck to basics and it worked for him.
It's very rare to see a foreign fighter from, like, elsewhere that's not Thailand and is able to out Muay Thai game plan a Thai fighter of the caliber of Riteira. It's extremely rare, and that's the thing that impressed me the most about that fight. I interviewed Daniel backstage, and when I obviously immediately asked him about the leg kicks, he said he game planned for it because Riteira turns his feet inwards because he has a boxing background. So that makes it harder for him to shake leg kicks. So he immediately targeted the lead leg because of that.
And we were saying that in the commentary, you know, like that boxing, the time that he did in the boxing is definitely paid into that because, you know, he sits so heavy on that front foot sometimes when he tries to go for it. So, yeah, great
analysis.
Great game plan. And, you know, that's why a lot of fighters are doing tape watches now or doing tape studies. You know, it definitely helps. You know, you look at the level of training now from when I was fighting, even back in 2012 to 2012 to 2017. That's when I finished. The guys that are coming up now in the amateur divisions, like even in Western countries, are way better technically than I was after like 15 fights. Like 3 fights, they're coming out with super clean technique. The level of training internationally has just risen so much. And I think a lot of it is due to exposure through social media, YouTube. Technology has been our greatest asset in terms of
learning.
In terms of learning, you know, for the foreign world of Muay Thai.
One of my first exposures to technology being used to teach Muay Thai is actually Nico's. Like Nico has like NicoMuayThai.com. I think I would love to plug him if I got the handle right there. I never seen like something like that, and it's obviously non-existent in Thailand. So that's a big equalizer in terms of ability to learn for foreign fighters, and obviously with the Thai fighters going abroad and doing seminars because it's like their best and biggest source of income.
Yes. The seminar model's a good little quick money maker for Thai fighters, or just even any fighters. I might just say that maybe not on the east coast of Australia, like Sydney especially. Why? They're just over seminared. They got so many Thai trainers in Sydney.
Is there such thing as too many seminars in one area?
Yes. You can get seminar fatigue. I've heard complaints from people in Australia about too many seminars, just over seminared.
Why is it a bad thing? You can just not attend them, right?
Yeah. I think just as a business model, like when you've got 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
coming through a month,
Mm.
it's just like for gym owners, because gym owners need to make money off the top of these seminars as well,
Yeah.
because they get a cut of it.
Mhm.
So for them, it's just not really worth it sometimes,
Mm.
if you know what I mean. So having too many seminars, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, I've already sort of seen this big ONE Championship fighter, but I've already had like 3 stadium champions come through anyway.
Mm.
So, you know,
Sometimes it's like too much information.
too much saturation.
Too much.
Yeah. But moving on.
Wait, I have like
Oh, sorry.
a couple more points. One of the things that Daniel said after his fight, after he beat Reteoda, he said that Muay Thai is only going up from here. That is a very promising sign coming from one of the maybe the best foreign fighter in the world right now.
Mm.
Do you agree with that statement that Muay Thai is only going up from here?
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of us working hard to try and take it there. I mean, you look at the work that the SAT and the work that the WBC have been doing internationally to just expose people to Muay Thai. So the way I think about it is, the more people that do Muay Thai, the more people that will level up. And I think it is only going up from here. I think there are so many foreigners now that are just so good. I don't think they're the same as previous generations, but I do think that the game is changing in the favour of the foreigner. I think there's a couple of things that have to do with that. One, I think the lack of Thai talent because of COVID.
Yeah.
COVID basically, and we've said this before, COVID destroyed Muay Thai in Thailand, destroyed the provincial circuit. It's only just sort of starting to revive now from CPR, but barely. You know, the crazy statistic about, I think it was destroyed 90% of gyms.
Yeah.
From that Pet D with Antoine did that interview with him. It was like 90% of gyms.
A lot less gyms now than there were before.
There was like 10,000 registered gyms, but now there's only like 800. Yeah, 880 or something like that.
So like decreased by 2 digits.
Exactly. Crazy, man.
100 times less.
But the other side of the coin is that international Muay Thai, at least in my experience, has risen tenfold. Like, you look at Australia.
So you're saying that COVID didn't negatively affected the growth of Muay Thai abroad?
No. I think more people got into it over COVID, and I've seen a lot more in my 12 years of being involved in the sport, and coming here for a very long time, having gone through different camps. I've seen way more people coming to Thailand to train than I ever have in my life. FA group.
So many.
Yeah, FA group as an example, as a case study. FA group 2015, 2016, there you would have found about a handful of foreigners. Myself, we used to roll through there sometimes. There would have been a handful of us. Okay? Now, last time I went there, which was last year, you couldn't even friggin' step into the gym. It was absolutely packed, and they had foam pads out on the street and people kicking pads out on the street. That's how packed it was. Whenever I've travelled to gyms in Phuket now, fucking absolutely booked out. Sessions booked out. You look at Simbi Muay Thai, right? Hugh O'Donnell, if you know him, Hugh O'Donnell, he's fighting out of there at the moment. 100 people plus per day, he says. And they got something like 30 trainers.
And during COVID, Simbi was selling like all their fighters.
Yeah.
Khomatak right now, one of the best in 130 pounds division. He is at that Lat Gym now. His Khomatak all Achalia now. It used to be Khomatak Sinbi Muay Thai. So that shows that competition Muay Thai, or like at least 5-round Muay Thai, isn't as profitable as the international sort of business in Muay Thai.
But you know what's an interesting paradigm, right?
Mhm.
At least from my friends in Australia,
Mm.
and at least in Australia, 5-round Muay Thai is more popular than entertainment Muay Thai.
In Australia or
In Australia, people there now, it might be just the people that I surround myself with, the old heads,
yeah.
but at least with them, like my friends in Australia, 5-round stadium Muay Thai is much more popular than entertainment Muay Thai, 3-round entertainment Muay Thai.
Mm.
And I think that is an interesting thing in itself. And you'll find more promotions in Australia doing 5-round Muay Thai. Not obviously, it's not stadium style with the gamblers and everything like that. And every round is still scored. You know,
So like RWS rules, but not open scoring.
No. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So it's RWS rules with non-open scoring, but 5 rounds.
So the gambling stuff is too incredibly difficult for people outside the Muay Thai circuit in Thailand to understand.
It's so nuanced.
It's so nuanced. So not even the people within the circuit, not everyone in the circuit understands it. That's how incredibly difficult it is to understand and have a grasp about it. The final name on the pound for pound for me is Kun Sik Lek, by the way. So, but we already talked so much about Kun Sik Lek, so there's no point really.
Little warlord.
Warlord.
Oh man, he was. I think, and I've about to release a video of my highlights for 2024, and yeah, he's pretty much one of the main highlights. Is one of the biggest names of 2024, Kun Sik Lek. Also made that comeback from Matsuda's knockout.
Yeah. But that Matsuda knockout might be the biggest underdog win in Muay Thai history. And I'm not saying this just for promotional sake. It's because in the past, there couldn't have been a bigger mismatch in a title fight for a stadium title. You know what I mean? So Ryoki Matsuda came in with one Muay Thai fight in his entire career. He was a kickboxer before, only one draw against Issei. Gets a title fight against Kun Sik Lek, who's the star, the face of RWS. First round, he lost only a little bit. Second round, he comes out, hits him in the body, knocks him out cold. Biggest upset of the year. Unreal. Knocks the champ out cold, knocks the face of RWS out, lay down on the canvas unconscious. You were there on commentary for that fight.
No, I wasn't actually. I sent my friends. I sent my friends Matt Williams and Hugh O'Donnell actually. They did it, and they were just gobsmacked. You can hear in the commentary and they heard him knocking, then he found the door. Like, man, just what a surprise.
Were you watching at home?
I couldn't watch it live because of the time difference, and obviously, Arjun Joe has different priorities from the 9 to 5. But
responsible teacher.
Yeah, that's right. Teacher by day, content creator by night, like Sailor Moon.
Yeah,
the Sailor Moon of Muay Thai.
Never make that comparison ever again. Well, I was watching. I wasn't that surprised because Kun Sik Lek was knocked out by a punch before when he did boxing, but I knew immediately the impact and the backlash it would have. It was such a big deal, and it happened outside of Thailand too, just for the impact of a fight that is not the most promoted.
Yeah.
Only on a Facebook live stream in Thailand at least. Such a big deal, and it's a picture that no one ever imagined, because everyone always thought if Kun Sik Lek was on a 4-year undefeated streak for 41 fights.
Yeah.
4 to 5 year undefeated streak for 41 fights, gets knocked out by a fucking nobody abroad on a smaller show. That is like if you wrote this in a movie, it would be cheesy as fuck. And Ryuki,
it's like Rocky Balboa stuff in it.
And then I heard Ryuki was running around the city with the title and then took a picture of him sleeping with the title. Ryuki is a mad lad. He's a funny guy.
He's a nice guy. I met him at the last.
He's cool, isn't he?
Yeah. He's
definitely has better taste in music than Kun Sik Lek does. better looking too.
I don't know.
Rookie's cool. Rookie's cool. Kuntik like listens to the Isan stuff. Rookie is like listening to Tiger. No.
Okay. Yeah, right. Now, moving on from pound for pound, you wanted to talk about Muay Thai's two biggest promotions, ONE and RWS.
Nah, it's not like just the promotion specifically. It's more about the growth in making Muay Thai more popular.
Okay.
So both of them have very different approaches to making Muay Thai more popular. I think it's something, I mean, you are, no disrespect, but older than me, you have been in the circuit for a bit longer. I think you have seen a few promotions try to make Muay Thai more mainstream, and all of them have failed so far, obviously, because they're not here now. How do you think, do you think it's a failing effort in trying to make Muay Thai mainstream before these two promotions have done so? And how big of a challenge do you think it is for the newer promotions, including these two, to make Muay Thai actually mainstream?
Can I be honest with you? Can I be super honest with you? From my time being on the scene, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. And I've seen so many promotions come and go. MX Extreme, Muay Hardcore, even the old like Channel 8 Super Champ model before it was LWC. There's been so many that have tried it. Even Max Muay Thai, when I was fighting, Max Muay Thai was like
stacked, right?
It was like the pinnacle. Packed. It was the pinnacle of like entertainment Muay Thai. And now it's like it's just a tourist stadium down in.
Does it still exist?
Yeah, it still exists.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that, and I'm Thai, so that explains the situation there.
Yeah. So and no disrespect to the
obviously
the Max Muay Thai guys and the stadium owners, but now it serves as basically a stepping platform or a development circuit for fighters in Pattaya or guys getting their first sort of touch of experience in Thailand. I think nothing lasts forever. That's my honest opinion. I do think, however, that ONE Championship and RWS are doing two completely different things.
Completely
different things, but I think they both serve a purpose. Now, I think I'm not exactly a fan of ONE Championship's model of Muay Thai, but they certainly are changing people's lives with the bonuses, the pay packets, the amount of money that they're putting into marketing and viewership and that sort of stuff. Not a massive fan of small glove Muay Thai. I think it's too much of an equalizer. I mean, you can get stadium champions who get knocked out by somebody who's had 13 fights.
Yeah, and I see that every week.
Yeah. And we see, and the thing is like, no disrespect to Chatri or the team at ONE for what they're doing. For me, it's just not really for me. It's not really for me. Like, I prefer to have some of the traditional aspects. For me, Muay Thai has to have the music. For me, Muay Thai has to have a wire crew. For me, Muay Thai has to have style. And I just think that the small gloves and the bonuses drive people to throw some of those elements like technicality, high IQ away a little bit. And that's just my personal view about I can watch it. I can watch it when my friends are on there to support it, but it's not something I could watch every week. It's just not for me.
Yeah, it's a long card too.
But it certainly serves a good purpose for bringing new fans into the sport. And it has done an amazing job of doing that. How people before, in 2015, 2016, would never have heard of Rottang. When he was fighting on the Pet Indeed shows, they would have never heard of Rottang. Now, look at him. He's an international superstar. So it certainly serves a purpose of bringing light to these fighters who we've both agreed deserve the world.
Mm.
These athletes absolutely deserve the world, and they do an amazing job of bringing light and shining them under this Hollywood-esque sort of. I don't want to use the UFC comparison. I don't want to say that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that.
I heard that too many times. I would walk off if you say.
But the Las Vegas feel, or like they like to say, the
Yeah.
Madison Square Garden feel.
Oh no, you said it.
Yeah, the Madison Square Garden feel.
Uh-huh.
But that's what it feels like when you go to Lumpini at
Yeah, it's
one show.
one of the things that is getting better throughout the years of Thailand. If you are deep into the culture, you would know that fighters in the past, let's say 50, 60 years, pretty much slaves, bro. Very much like labor work. Not much rights, not much like you would hear it. I think it's pretty public that you would hear old fighters coming out of retired and then coming out to say that they haven't seen the money that they fought for, or they have no career now because they spent their whole childhood in a fight camp rather than in school. Brain damage is one thing, and then they would end up being drunk on some streets.
How many golden era legends have you seen as taxi drivers or security
Far
guards?
too many, my friend. It's supposed to be none.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be none, but at least fighters now, they might get more damaged with the rule sets. They might let's say there's a lot of downsides through this era compared to the past. However, one of the things that's definitely increased is their livelihoods. So that's the most important thing.
And international exposure. I think that is one big thing that the ONE Championship model does really well, is exposing it internationally to a broader market, and they create heroes. And I think that is part of like Chatri's vision, is to create heroes.
Well, obviously, because he's a fight fan, isn't he? So
Yeah.
he would want to, because fight fans would glorify fighters. So obviously, if a fight fan is a promoter, they would try to build heroes. Same with every promotion, RWS, etc., etc. Thai fight goes a bit hard on that with building heroes. I see like two. So the basis of this topic is that Muay Thai is not just trying to become global, become international, just to make more profit. It's not doing that just to make themselves go to another level, but they are doing it to simply survive. And I think that's the key difference and key concept that people need to understand before they make this discussion. Muay Thai in Thailand itself is not survivable because people do not have a sports culture. It might be the national sport of the country, but people do not spend their weekends with their families going out to watch sports. They go to the malls, they go to watch the movies, they go to a fancy restaurant, or maybe go to a bar, but they do not go to sports venue. And the only people in the stadiums are the gamblers. And that gambling Muay Thai culture took a very big hit, as we have mentioned previously in the podcast, that after COVID, it barely exists. And there's only like one group of gamblers now who all know each other. It's a very sad sight sometimes. And every promoter, even both from Pedindi, mentioned it all the time. It's very public. So now in Muay Thai, everyone is trying to gain international exposure because everyone knows that Muay Thai is a great asset, is a great product, and has high potential abroad, high interest. So everyone is trying to find a route to go internationally, but people are going different routes. So for example, I think ONE is trying to go the MMA route because they were an MMA promotion before they started to dip into Muay Thai and kickboxing. ONE Super Series is what they called it in the beginning, right? I think their concept of Muay Thai is that it's a part of MMA. So that's why they have the small gloves. That's why there's no lineaments too. Also because I guess fighters would roll around in the ring. So it practically isn't possible anyways. Their logic of making damage the highest scoring criteria, because it's a real fight, there's no draws, it's a street fight, but we're just limiting ourselves to using only hands, elbows, knees, and chins. So I think that's the concept of ONE. once Muay Thai, so they would try to make Muay Thai more accessible and increase the exposure by making it more and more like MMA. So the MMA fans would be crazy over Rotang, be crazy over Superbon's technical head kick or Rotang's toughness or suplex elbows. I think that's how they're going with it.
And that's why I think it really serves a purpose, and it serves a purpose for just thinking economically and financially about entering the North American market. Because I mean, like, you look at how huge sports is in America. That's the market that like Muay Thai should really be going after, because the amount of commercial sponsorship that
Yeah,
goes into
the difference, I don't know, like if I think people listening to this podcast will understand, a lot of them will be coming from more developed regions in the world. If a sport does well in America, they don't have to do well in Europe, in Asia, in Africa, in South America. But a sport solely just in Thailand has to do well outside for it to be able to generate cash and profit. So it is very important for them to do that, right?
Absolutely. And I think when we have a look at the other promotions like RWS, they're doing a completely different thing as well.
Totally different.
To ONE Championship. You know, they're I mean, a big focus of theirs is getting bums on seats in the stadium.
Yep. Tourism.
Yeah, tourism, and promoting it as part of the soft power initiative, which is like kind of a thing that I'm involved with indirectly. And
You are?
no, like indirectly trying to push that.
Oh yeah,
Trying to push that.
I thought you work for the like tourism authorities of Thailand.
I mean, if they want to give me a job, I'm always here.
Likewise.
Yeah. If you
Give us a job.
But yeah, RWS are doing something completely different. But I mean, even in the last year, we look at some of the like marketing initiatives that they've put in place. Like, okay, there's just the example, the Dome project.
Oh yeah,
the Dome project, right?
Rajadamnern Immersive Muay Thai.
Yeah, Rajadamnern Immersive Muay Thai. The night of the 80th anniversary show, or the commemoration of the 80th anniversary, when the Rajadamnern champions came up on the pillars, it was like being in the Colosseum. It was like being in the Colosseum of, you know, the legends.
Well, I wasn't there that day, and someone spoiled it for me, so I didn't feel that.
Oh, mate, it was amazing. It was amazing. The actual...
Yeah, because you didn't know that was going to happen.
No. Well, I did, because I went...
oh, yeah, you saw the try.
Yeah. Our friends at RWS let me go and see it.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing, breathtaking. So if you...
Yeah, that's how champions should be treated.
Exactly. And they do it right. They do it perfectly. I mean, just the way that it all went down on the 80th show was amazing. Like, I haven't even got words for it. You had to be there. You had to witness it. The video of it just doesn't do it justice. But
I do get that, because looking on video, like half of it's like just like 50% of being there in the stadium. I do get that.
And you know, like, what's interesting about RWS is when I spoke to Bank a couple of years ago, when I did
the CEO.
When I did the podcast with him, and he was talking about, I said, what's the vision for RWS? And he said, it's to make Rajadamnern a home for Muay Thai, where families can come and watch Muay Thai as a family unit and have fun, like going to an NBA game or a baseball game. And I think they have achieved that. I honestly think they have achieved that vision now. You know, they've got the KISS cams, they've got the flex cams.
That's why, like, I see a lot of people complaining about the KISS cams, the flex cams, the dance cams, all the cams. I think people need to understand that for a business to run, they need to make money, and there's no money in promoting Muay Thai to its purest form. There's barely anyone who really does that. That's my page. My dumbass likes to do that. But like, for a serious promotion to be able to actually generate revenue, at least for RWS, they actually don't make a loss on their annual reports. They do need to have some sort of income, and then tourism is their solution for that. With ONE, they do a completely different model. They are like a startup. They don't really make profit right now. Shatri promises that it's going to be profitable, but not as of this recording yet. So yeah, I think people need to understand that as of now, there's no real money in promoting Muay Thai as a sport. Let's say I put in two of the best fighters against each other. If it's an actual sport that people follows culturally out of habit,
Yeah.
that should already make money. If Usyk fights Fury for the first time, they don't even need to promote it. People were just gonna watch it anyways, right? But like for Muay Thai, no one cares. Like in
Not enough people do.
In the 6 names that I listed out, I don't know if the masses know even one of them.
No, I don't think you could. Yeah. I don't think that's true. I don't think that Joe Blow, who's never watched Muay Thai, he wouldn't know it. But I think people who participate and train, they would know, Yunatakas, they would know Kunsuk
Really?
Leg. Yeah, I think they would know Kunsuk Leg.
I think, like for me, from what I see, I obviously haven't been to as many gyms abroad as you, but I think there's like a divergence between cultures of people would watch Muay Thai and then people would train Muay Thai. The viewers in Rajadamnern are just tourists. They are in a different group. I think people who train Muay Thai are just more focused on like training, improving themselves, and then they would know, like, let's say people from England, they would know Alfie Pierce, but they wouldn't know Sang Mani.
No.
But Sang Mani is like, Alfie would admit to this, is like Sang Mani is so much more like, has such a richer history than Alfie. Alfie's new, bro. Like, it's like saying, like, if you watch football, it's like saying you don't know Messi, but you know some Lamine Yamal, I guess, like some new kid who's in the block.
I don't know that person.
Yeah, obviously. Like I said,
Case
so
in
that's
point,
yeah,
right?
exactly. So I think the end goal of Muay Thai, because Muay Thai is already big in terms of people training Muay Thai. So many people do Muay Thai, exercise, kick pads, maybe spar, and then move to MMA, sadly enough. I think the end goal for the sports side of Muay Thai is to make the people who trains Muay Thai and is already involved in the name Muay Thai to start watching the sport and actually embracing the competition, the shows, everything, and then put money into it. Because people who train Muay Thai comes from different backgrounds. There would be some people would have money to invest into the sport, and I think that can go together.
In Australia, there's a little bit of a culture of like people who train and watching, but they won't watch Thai shows. They'll watch Australian shows. So Rebellion. I don't know if you've heard of Rebellion, but
it's like one of the 3 I've heard.
Yeah.
There's Rebellion, there's Eruption.
Yes.
And then 19 something.
1774.
Nearly correct.
Okay, no, yeah.
It's the year Nai Khanom Tom did
Yes,
that.
yeah.
You told me on the podcast, I answered.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I know only 3 of them.
Shout out to Irem on that one.
Shout out to you too.
Yes. And shout out to Nike Nom Tom. What was I going to say? Yeah, people will get together and have watch parties.
Really?
Yeah, they'll literally sit on the couch, have beers, and watch.
Actual sport.
Yeah, an actual sport. A friend of mine who I work with, we watched 1774 here and had opened a couple of beers and watched the fights here. So when the next 1774 is on, come around. I might even break my drinking streak for that. That's it.
Nah, don't do that.
Yeah. But I think there needs to be more of that as well. Just watching the sport.
Yeah, I would love to go watch Muay Thai abroad, see how it's like. So obviously now that your boy's unemployed, I can actually find business ideas and inspirations out of that. Understand more cultures.
If Sai Naji from Rebellion is watching this, he is a man who knows a lot about Muay Thai. You should get involved with this young man. He's a wealth of knowledge, a walking encyclopedia, so definitely jump on it. Now, new crops of fighters and how they compare to the old days. What do you think?
the reason that I put that on the list is because going back again to the changes before and after COVID. Now we see fighters usually before COVID, you would need hundreds of fights before you can break into the Bangkok stadiums, into Lumpinis, into Ratchadamnerns. You need hundreds of fights, and then you need to be the best in your province before you come into the stadiums. Now, obviously, at Ratchadamnern, there's like people making their debut there with ONE Championship. Even MMA fighters are fighting there. It's not like that anymore, which is fine, obviously, because everyone needs to adapt. However, what I do see is that fighters have so much less experience before they make it to the top in this era. So an example would be, you commentate on SKS, you would know Monpalam.
Yep.
Monpalam is a kid who has like less than 40 fights.
Yeah.
And he was already, I think he is Channel 7 champion. Yeah, he is still the Channel 7 champion. And that, to me, like sometimes is wild, because you used to have like 200 fights before you win a belt there.
Yeah. That was one thing that I'd noticed about commentating on the Arm Nopparuj shows, was that a lot of fighters, when we had a look at their records, were coming in with 50, 60 fights and fighting at Arm Nopparuj. And Jimmy, my co-commentator, he's more of a boxing guy. And he said, "Oh, is that normal?" I was like, "No, not really, man. They should be coming in with like 150, 200 to be fighting on such a prestigious circuit."
Yeah, when people were, I saw like on a Rotang video that people are surprised. Oh, he has 300 fights. No, that's the norm. You have 300 fights before you were 20, and then you start like using that as a name-making sort of slogan abroad afterwards. It's like very normal to have 200 fights.
Yeah, the only comparison I can make is like in the West we have sparring days, or in the West we have what they call smokers, where different gyms will get together and they'll bring sort of evenly matched people and just have like sparring matches. But they'll do that like, every single week.
Like competitive sparring.
Yeah, competitive sparring. That is pretty much the provincial circuit in Thailand when they're kids. They just do it every week.
And that is the cultural difference between Thailand and abroad. So in Thailand, you don't have that because people only fight for money. And basically your kid fights are your training sessions. You don't train unless you have a fight, because everything it costs here. It might be cheap, but people are poorer than it is cheap. So you don't train unless you're going to fight. So with people, like me saying that someone has less than 50 fights is like somewhat saying that someone has less than 50 times they go into hard actual fight camps. So that to me just shows that the new crop is going to be so much more inexperienced than before. There's a kid called Thai names are weird. My name is there's this kid named called Facebook. He's the son of Nawapon, who is like a famous like fighter back then. They are now a bit viral because he wins a lot of bets in the countryside. It's like a 15-year-old Muay Khao clincher. He is gaining a fair bit of popularity. I think you would hear of him at this point.
Yeah.
So I listened to one of his interviews. He said that he only had like around 30 fights. He won on Channel 7. He is one of the most famous fighters in the province, like the regional scene. But only around 30 fights. You're supposed to have like 100.
And you know what's like really funny about that is like you say only 30 fights.
30 fights is someone's entire career, right?
But a foreigner, like an Australian, and like if someone says they've had 30 fights, they're like, whoa, like
so experienced.
Yeah, wow, you've had 30 fights. Yeah, so it's an interesting.
But it's very different, bro. Like I would like even fighters from Japan, from Russia, they would say they have like I was talking about Ryuki earlier, the biggest underdog win, the guy who won that. He said that he only had 2, as of now, 3 Muay Thai fights. I'm sure he had so much more when he was a kid, but they just labeled amateur fights. Sometimes they would just be like very hard sparring sessions. And then sometimes with Thai fighters, you would fight. If I told you had to fight tomorrow, you would fight tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
You would maybe not cut weight, and then you go to sleep, wake up, and then get your oil liniments on and fight. But abroad, I was like, from what I've heard, is that you have like everything is so serious. You would like, especially if you're at the top of your, let's say at the top of UK, at the top of Australia, you would have these long, prolonged fighting camps, and then you would have like your preparations. You would know the venue, you would know your opponent, you would know everything, every single detail, every date of the fights in the year. And to a Thai, that's ridiculously weird.
One of my most active years, I think I had 11 fights in a year, which is very active for a fighter. That's nearly that's a fight a month, which is pretty active. Fighting in Thailand, I remember I had 2 in 1 week. I fought one, and then had a couple of days partying. And then my trainer said, "Oh, do you want to fight tomorrow?" I was like, "Oh yeah, why not?" Worst mistake of my life. Got knocked out.
Was the partying the reason you got knocked out?
I think so because I didn't have any fluid in my brain, and also like,
where were your fluids?
Definitely probably in the toilet that morning.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think I was pretty weak from dehydration and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's all good. Lesson learned: don't drink and fight. Don't drink and drive, but don't drink and fight. That's a good one.
I think that's pretty basic, dude. Pretty much common sense.
Yeah, well, that's one thing that I lack. So yeah, the culture. There's a big cultural difference, and that's one thing.
Such a big cultural difference. Sometimes you like. In Thailand, you also don't pick your own fights. It's your gym owner and your promoter who picks the fights for you. You don't complain. You don't say. If you start saying anything about, that's why after every single interview with the Thai fighters, they say they can fight with anyone and anybody, as long as the promoter sees it fitting. That's why they say it, because you are not supposed to. You're supposed to just take fights.
So here's oh man, this has been grinding me for a couple of weeks now. So I got a friend who I helped train for her first fight, and she was telling me a story about some fighters she knew who fought at Lumpini, and they were complaining about not getting the full purse. Now they were saying, "Oh,
this is recent.
This is recent. Oh, we should have control over the purse. That's our money." What they didn't take into account was that the matchmaker had paid for the hotel, the transport, their food stipend.
Yeah.
And they're like, where's our money? Where's our money? And they were getting aggressive with the matchmaker.
Yeah.
That is not how you do business in Thailand.
Nope.
That is completely unprofessional. Do not do that here. And do not bring your Western muscle mentality here to try and do business. I'm sorry, I had to get that off my chest, but story has been grinding me. When I heard that, that is not how you conduct.
Yeah, if you do that as a foreigner, most of the time, if you're lucky enough, a Thai promoter or a Thai promotion team would understand that you come from a different culture. If you're a Thai person who does that, you're gonna get popped.
Yeah, exactly. So just going to that idea of how do we follow Muay Thai now? And I think one of the big things I talk about is following the shows in Thailand with English commentary. That's a big stepping stone or entry for people. Obviously, a couple of the shows, LWC Super Champ, they've got Ali McConey and Kevin Armlid, who runs Muay Thai Results. You got the guys from ONE Championship, obviously Mitch Nielsen and that crew.
Mitch Chilson.
Mitch Chilson. Yeah, Mitch. Big Mitch. You got RWS with Peter and Aaron, Big Aaron 1. Peter Denman, the most handsome man in Muay Thai.
Formerly Joe Comerford, the former most handsome man in Muay Thai.
Yeah, the former most handsome man. But that's because of weight gain. Fairtex Fight on Saturdays. You can check that out on the Fairtex Fight YouTube. You got myself. We sort of alternate the team a little bit. So there's 4 of us. Dougie Malagon, who's a pro fighter down at Fairtex Training Centre. Eleanor Fellows, who's a I don't know if you've met her, but she's a
I
pro.
just walk past her, I guess.
Oh, yeah, she's a
For
pro.
Alfie's fight, she's also comes with.
Yeah,
same.
she's a pro fighter out of Japan. Very knowledgeable as well in terms of like commentary. Very good commentator. Matt Lucas, the mystical Matt Lucas.
Oh, Big Matt.
Big Matt.
I haven't seen you in a while, Matt. I would love to see you again.
Shout out to Matt. What else we got? What other shows we got? SKS Empire at Rajadamnern Stadium. That's not televised, but it is certainly on YouTube.
Wait, it's not televised?
It's not televised on TV.
Really? I didn't know that.
No,
but I always watch my things online anyways.
Okay. So, yeah, that's a big part of this, right? Yeah. Everything's online now. So, you can watch that on the SKS Empire YouTube. We formerly had Omnoy Stadium. We were doing the SKS Empire shows, which was 5-round Muay Thai, and so much fun to commentate because it made me learn a lot more. Even though I felt that
Wait, what show was this again?
The Saturday show at Omnoy.
But there's like 3 Saturday shows.
The one on PPTV. SKS.
Yeah.
SKS Super Fight.
Oh yeah, the one my boy Kai Pa is fighting.
Yes, that one. And what else? Off the top of my head, I think that's it in terms of
commentary.
English commentary shows. So that's one stepping stone on how to watch Muay Thai. As we just mentioned, online, everything's on YouTube, everything's on Facebook. Where else? How do you follow Muay Thai now?
Muay Thai Testament on Instagram. She plug. Haven't been really active recently. I am not going to bother on promising that I'm going to be more active anymore. I'm just going to do it.
Yeah.
Because I have said it so many times and something gets in the way all the time. So I'm not going to make a promise about it anymore. But that's the effort, at least. Try to make Muay Thai as digestible as possible, especially on the sports side, on the understanding the sports, the culture, all the drama, and also sports updates. My efforts now that I am freelance, I'm going to put all my efforts 100% into my own stuff, which is Muay Thai Testament and whatever branches out of that. I got a few more stuff listed. Muay Thai results, Kevin Amlit, the newly married husband. Kevin Amlit, Muay Thai results, he updates the results better than any Thai page does. So if you want to just check out the results of the fights, you can check it out on his Instagram, Muay Thai results. For the old school stuff, the golden era, you can check out Muay Thai library. You got Sylvie and then her husband Kevin. I also did some subtitle works and translation works for them 2-3 times. But yeah, they're awesome. One of the reasons that I am able to talk to older Thai people within the Muay Thai circuit is because of the knowledge that I learned from their page. And that is me speaking as a Thai person. So that is something. Onto more new school stuff. There are a couple of Twitter accounts that you can follow to understand Muay Thai a bit more. There's a guy, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce this. Tetsuya MT789. It's probably a Thai person, like has some Dek Inter sort of vibes that, Thai person who speaks more English than Thai. I don't know him personally at all, but if you want to know what is the general sentiments or opinions and like rumors, gossips surrounding Muay Thai on a Thai level, on Facebook, on Thai TikTok, then you can follow him. It's like a one-place stop. Unless you want to get really deep into like the gossips and stuff in Muay Thai, like the Sangmani drama. I don't know if you heard of that.
The poisoning?
No, the recent.
Oh, recent.
There's a new Sangmani drama every year. So the latest one. You know why he changed gyms to Jit Mak Non?
No.
I'll talk to you about that after the podcast.
Okay. Well,
but it's like half public. He does say it publicly that for those who understands what's going on with me would get my decisions and stuff. That's kind of. Anyways, and then lastly, there's my boy. I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce his name. Lev. He has a Twitter called Lev_kick, and then he tweets about fighters on a digestible level. So he would like make short highlights of fighters in the stadium circuit mostly, and then would write some things about them, and then make it very digestible and easy to understand for people who know absolutely nothing about Muay Thai.
Excellent. And I mean, it's like people like this that are changing the roadmap for Muay Thai.
Doing it for free.
Doing it for free. And
I'm trying to change that, but it's a rough
yeah,
effort.
I know, we all are. But I mean, that's the thing. We don't get paid to do any of this stuff. This podcast is a passion project. Haven't seen a cent from it. I've had some episodes that did fairly well. I've had some episodes that have got 50 views. But you do it for the love of it, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's the root of the sport. Passion.
Exactly. The only way this sport survives and grows is on passion.
And that goes on to so many levels too. Even the people in the gyms, the trainers, the gym owners, not everyone is making money. Not even all of the fighters. Sometimes you're just doing it because that is your lifestyle now. So passion for the sport is something. And if you do have the funds to sponsor those passions and can make it more profitable, then that'd be lovely.
And if you have the money to sponsor us, then feel free to hit us up at our respective social networks.
So many plugs in this episode.
Yeah, I know. But it's
not enough, obviously.
It's the first.
It's 2025. It's time for Muay Thai to be profitable. You ever heard of that Joe Rogan podcast clip that he comes out to say that?
Yes, where he says, why isn't it
Muay Thai the world's... Because there's no one sponsoring it. Everything requires money, and like people like me was dumb enough to come out of a job that he loves just to do his own out of passion. Like people like that needs to have more sponsorship. So if you do have any known opportunities, to feel free to let us know.
Yep, I mean, like all of this, all of this up to date gear,
state of the art
gear that you can see here. This
a low cost fountain.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not even working right now.
This waterfall that you can see here, and this Yudong Lao Khao cushion that my wife won in a lucky draw.
Really?
She won it down. You know the shop downstairs. She won it there in the community lucky draw. So that's part of the thing here. What about creators to follow?
Oh, the best one I think is Joe Comerford on Instagram.
Oh, thank you.
He's like one of the best, right?
Oh, thank you, sweet sir. I would like to think so. No, but my basic mission is to make Muay Thai understandable for the layman. Also to teach foreign fighters how to conduct themselves here in Thailand. Also to teach fighters not to make the same mistakes that I've made in my career. Give fighters more opportunities. Also, I just want to be involved in the sport. I had a rough end of my career. Spent 5 years trying to find the love and passion back for Muay Thai. Matt Lucas got me involved in commentary. Found my love for talking about Muay Thai. I might not be the most educated person. My knowledge might not match other people like Aaron's, who's a friggin' computer.
Yeah, an AI.
And he is AI of Muay Thai.
He's a robot. I'm not sure if he's human.
Yeah, I know. He's definitely a cyborg. He's got a great knowledge. But that's it. I try and make it easy and accessible for people, and I try and give people opportunities. That's my whole vision. Some other promoters, not
creators.
Promoters, some other creators that I do think are worth following. Obviously, Matt Lucas Muay Thai.
Yeah.
He does great work on talking about the industry, highlighting certain fighters, also talking about ring strategy, things like that. Some other creators that I think are worth following just about the actual fighter's journey. There's one young UK lad called Isaac Nakmoy.
Bro, I had that on my list.
Oh, okay.
He's the only guy I was gonna like name drop for this other than you. Yeah, Isaac. We talked a few times. He came over to my gym, Warisha, and then I also met him a few times at the stadiums. Yeah, he's very cool. His format makes it very easy to understand. He goes through your day to day stuff, and then also like um actually lives and breathes in a Thai gym in a Muay Thai culture. So if you want to get an embedded perspective with actual human connection, follow Isaac Nakmoy.
Yes, absolutely. I think his stuff is very good. And watch out for one of his teammates, Paul Pascal.
Bro, Paul is a monster.
Yeah, bro. He's legitimately like one of my favorite foreigners right now.
Yeah, big Paul.
Yeah, big Paul. Oh, yeah, well, he's actually little Paul.
Little Paul.
Yeah, but Paul Pascal, brilliant. I first saw him come onto the scene.
Palang Mai shows, right?
No, Fairtex fight.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw him before he even.
Yeah,
Wow.
even he started going on the Palang Mai or the traditional shows. He fought 3 rounds on Fairtex fight. I was so impressed by his style. Amazing.
You know what he's known for in the traditional shows, right? With the Thai people, his reputation is that he always falls behind on the betting odds, or at least opens as an underdog. And then what people would, well, not now because people knows the trick now, but they would bet on him as an underdog to get the good odds, and then he would start to like go ham in like the second, the third round, and always gets the knockout. So Paul as an underdog is a mystical fighter that people love to bet on. However, now it's a very well-known secret. So yeah, and he's doing it on ONE Championship now. So.
Yeah, so definitely check out him. Just trying to think off the top of my head. There's so many creators on Instagram now.
Oh, there's an Insurgent.
Yeah, Insurgents that a lot of them I just sort of roll my eyes at because they don't actually understand. They don't understand it. There was one kid who had never fought, and he's teaching people about weight cuts and.
Oh, that's dangerous though.
Yeah, teaching people about fight and nutrition. Look, I shouldn't teach people about fight and nutrition. My whole career I neglected it, but. Bro, come on, like, you haven't even fought yet. You need to just calm down and stop doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a big Insurgents. I think there's a few for you that you can follow. Matt Lucas, Isaac Nakmoy, off the top of my head.
There's a guy on Instagram that sorry to interrupt, but there's a guy called Muay Michael, like Muay Michael. He does like
German guy?
Yeah, German guy. He used to like I day 1, day 2 until day 100. I think that was a lovely series that I actually loved watching it.
Yeah. I actually came across one of his reels today. He's back.
Yeah, he's back now.
He's back now. So his stuff I really enjoyed as well.
Me and him used to be like bar for bar in terms of followers. I used to have the edge on him a bit, and then I stopped, and then he grew to like nearly 1 million, bro. I'm not even 100.
It's amazing how some of these guys grow. I'm slowly growing one follower at a time, but
slowly but steadily.
Yeah, that's right. Slowly.
No, it's because our content is so much harder to put out to the public and gain followers than theirs.
Yes, exactly.
Because they just do like vlogs. Anyone can get into that, right? But with you, it's just fighters who are interested in Thailand and in fighting in Thailand. With me, it's mine's a bit of an anomaly, right? Because I'm presenting a sport that is unpresentable to the masses, and I am finding different ways to do it. So yeah,
I think you're doing a good job of it, though. You're doing a phenomenal.
I just need to be more consistent.
Yeah,
but it's hard. It's hard. I just try my best.
That's life. I just stick to the rule that I have to post something every day.
Yeah, but when I do that, my content.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I'm finding a way. I'll find.
Same with me though. Like
I have to because otherwise I would get no money.
Yeah. I post every single day, and it's like. But I believe that one day I'll have a breakthrough. I did have one breakthrough reel. That was that funny one where I said
the fat one.
The fat one where John Bones he commented on it.
Really?
Yeah, John Jones. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He goes.
John Jones commented on your reel.
Yeah, and he goes, "I know the feels."
Well, if anyone does partying before fighting, well, it's him.
Exactly. Now, moving on, how to be famous in this era of Muay Thai.
Joe Bones Comerford.
Yeah, John No.
Oh, that's unreal. I didn't know.
Do you know what a bogan is?
Bogan. No.
Do you know what a bogan is?
No.
It's basically like an Australian hillbilly.
Uh-huh.
So like
Like with a mullet?
Yeah, like a mullet, really bad tattoos, no teeth.
Yeah.
And they speak.
I never heard them like that.
Oh yeah, okay, bogan. Well, they're
That took me by surprise.
Australian rednecks. So instead of Joe Rogan, I'm Joe Bogan. So I'm gonna get a mullet, bro.
That's a long joke to explain.
Yeah, I know.
It works.
I know.
Worth it. Big payoff.
Aussies get it.
Yeah, Joe Bogan.
Yeah, the fact that I had to explain the punchline to you just destroys the joke.
No, but it's still funny somehow.
So how to be famous in this era of Muay Thai? Muay Thai is rapidly growing. There is more social media exposure than ever. It is easier than ever to gain a following online. Honestly, any fighter can pick up a phone, record themselves doing pads. It's actually, I would say, your responsibility to create content now. You have a marketing tool in your hands. How do we become famous?
One of the things that the reason that I wrote this topic down is because I feel like Thai fighters do not understand the need to self-promote.
Yeah.
They think that they just come on, if they are fortunate or lucky enough, they would come on these ONE shows or these RWS shows, and then they would suddenly become famous because they win. But in reality, as I have mentioned before, the sport is not popular. The name Muay Thai is. You need to give people as in the promotions and the audience of those promotions and the audience through the algorithm on Instagram, on TikTok, on Facebook, on them social media platforms to have a reason to want to follow you. So winning is not enough. Obviously, no disrespect to any promotion, obviously, because we all have to make profit somehow. And if we need to make profit, there will always be agendas. There are favorites in every single promotion, in every single sport, even in other sports outside fighting, but especially in fighting where the popularity is based upon the fighters. I'm sure there are certain UFC champions who are more popular and more favored than the others. And especially with boxing, right, where it's just the names rather than the promotion names. One example is that I would like to make is George Jarvis on ONE Championship. Shout out to him. I don't know him personally, but I did found it a very good case study where he came into the ring, knocked Satan Fa, I think Satan Fa 12 พี่น้อง out, and then didn't get the contract for some reason when he had, well, deservingly should have gotten the contract. Then he pretty much drops a pro wrestling promo talking about why he should state his case basically on why he should have a contract already when he hasn't had one. And then he went backstage. I don't know what happened after that, but he was called back into the ring. He comes into the ring. Frank says that they've reconsidered. Now he has a contract. That just shows the power of self-promoting. He was able to speak out for himself. But let's say you put his record in ONE Championship compared to Shadow Singh Mawin, who's like a top Thai fighter, former RWS champion, former Rajadamnern champion, one of the best in the division. You put their resumes by each other, it's pretty much identical. The only difference is Shadow has beaten Siddhichai, who has fought for the title before. And the one with the contract is George Jarvis and not Shadow. I think one of the reasons, if not the reason, is because there's two things that I've noticed. First of all, George brings in the eyes from the UK, from his home base. Unlike Shadow, who obviously in that division there's already like Tawan Chai, there's already the big Thai names, there's Superbon. With George, he brings in the English crowd, and he was able to present himself, speak in English, which is the more effective language compared to Thai. he spoke it in a way where he was able to articulate himself clearly, state a case, and not only touched on the practical reasons, but also on an emotional level with the audience. So he touched on both the competition side and the human side. Doing so, he now has a contract with ONE Championship, and he might as well get a title fight next. While Shadow will most likely still be on the Lumpini shows, making maybe half the money at least in terms of the bonus. I'm not saying that everyone should become Conor McGregor or start ducking people like Floyd Mayweather, but it is definitely just, I think to me, winning the fights is the minimum to becoming a famous fighter. If you start to win, then you have the ability to speak and connect with the audience, because now there's a reason and there's a credibility behind your name. After that, you should start thinking about the reason why your respective promotion should push you, because they're not going to do it on their own.
Yeah, and the world of Muay Thai has changed, and now it's your responsibility to be in front of a camera. It's just part of it. You may not like it, and I could totally understand from a fighter's perspective, but I'm sorry, if you're not doing it, you're not going to be remembered. You'll be a nobody.
And on the Thai side, I think people, like fighters, do not care about that, because the gambling culture, the gambling fighting is totally different from where we're going now. Both ONE and RWS and every single entertainment promotion, they're doing it for entertainment purposes. They are trying to make heroes out of you. There's no such thing as a hero who does not express themselves and does not stand for anything. There's no brand, there's no nothing, there's no such thing. While in the gambling circuit, you're basically like a betting horse. You're like something that someone bets on. And the more quiet you are there, the better, actually, because now people won't hate you. And then when, like, let me give you an example. There's like, that's not an accurate example, but there are fighters who, like Chat Ploy, who actually like talks shit about other fighters or like other like people, and then does the crazy antics. Got him nowhere.
But also a lot of this has got to do with the nuances of Thai culture as well.
Exactly. So the nuances of Thai culture is there, but well, not exactly, but I guess in Thai culture you still need to find a way to express yourself in a way where Thai people like or even hate you and give them a reason to tune in. But if you fucking say nothing and then you just like, I'll fight anyone the promoter tells me to, then there's no reason for people outside the circuit to want to care.
Because I've heard that a lot of people don't like Superbond for some reason.
They don't like Superbond, but they do watch Superbond, and Superbond is much richer than 19, like the other fighters.
Yeah.
And they say they don't like Superbond, but if he keeps winning, they will like him.
Yeah.
So Thai culture is like that. So if you are unbeatable, they will eventually all bow down. Superbond only gained hate during like the first Tawan Chai fight,
yeah.
Because it's like a clear picture, right? There's like the handsome good guy, and then, well, Superbond's not ugly, but the other guy, the brashy, more talkative guy. When Superbond started to talk shit about Petrosian, everyone loved it. So it's just like, just give the promotions and the people some reason to follow you if you're planning on growing into one of them shows like RWS, like one of them shows that is not fueled by just gambling and the sport. Like the gambling circuit, you can just be a good fighter and then you'll make as much money as possible. Like nothing else matters.
Let's be honest, like like Thai fighters, yes, but foreigners, they're not going to really be fighting on the stadium circuit unless you're like Jalil Barnes or somebody like that. Most fighters are going to be fighting on your ones, your LWC Super Champs, your entertainment circuit, your RWS. It's still worth investing in yourself and building a character or building a narrative online, having a following. I mean, this is case in point. I think I even told you this story on the last podcast about Matt, Lucas and I were at Lumpini Stadium for a ONE Championship event. We were speaking to one of the matchmakers there. Matt had one of his friends that he was trying to get on ONE, and the matchmaker said, how many followers does she have? And for me, that, and Matt said this to me as well, that was the turning point on when we knew how important social media was for fighters.
Oh, you never told me that.
Yeah.
But it's pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious. Right?
You look at the guys signed and got the contract to ONE. You look at Nabil, you look at Solin U, you look at their TikTok followers, and then you look at their resume. It's decent, and then you start looking at Yot Namchai's resume, and then Chat Payak's resume, and look at their winning streak, and then you realize that is what the sport is right now. It is a necessity, I would say. You need to give people a reason to give you money. It's not just that I do this well, so you need to pay me. That no one owes you.
You've got to give a reason for people to buy tickets.
Yes.
I mean, that's the crux of the issue is you have to give a reason for people to buy tickets. Your skills just aren't good enough, and like people will argue with me online about this all the time, and I'm sorry, but you're wrong. You just are. It is so necessary to invest in yourself and your media presence.
They are going to be correct when Muay Thai is an actual sport that anyone would watch. Like they would watch like regardless of who is on top. So let's say like in football, if you play for Liverpool, I would watch you anyways, no matter how good or bad you are, just because it's the league, it's the sport that it's my habit of watching football every weekend. But Muay Thai is not like that, right? So, or even like if you're a fighter and you're fighting on UFC, you would get to a certain level where if you win like them belts, you would get your name known like to a fair bit. It might be harder to get to that belt, but there are cases like Belal, like Leon, like Pantoja, who are like not the most like talkative people in the world, and then got that title shot and then became superstars just because the promotions have that much pull. But in Muay Thai, I'm sorry to say this, but none of the shows have that sort of pull yet. Nothing close, nothing similar, nothing identical. So the greatest pull that you can do for yourself is creating your own media, your own platform, your own marketing strategies to self-promote.
Absolutely. Speaking of shows, what have we got coming up this month and next?
We got one whatever, but it's the card. I just know that there's one Lumpini and then there's big one. I know there's like the numbered events and then there's the prime events and then there's the one Friday.
I don't even know anymore. I don't even know. It's so hard for me to keep track.
Like today, Gulab Dam was weighing in at the time of this recording for a one show that's not one Lumpini. And he doesn't have a contract, so I don't know how this whole system works.
People.
Yeah.
How weird is this, right?
Yeah.
People who aren't even into Muay Thai or combat sports gave me tickets to a Saturday morning event. One, I was like, there's no one on Saturday mornings. Oh, wait, what? There's like a tentpole event on...
Yeah, I don't know.
Because they call their big shows like a tentpole event, right? Oh, is it? Yeah, it's a tentpole.
Really?
Yeah, because that's the one that they're striving to make the most money for them or whatever. But they gave that to me and I was like, what? Wait, what? Who's on? Who? There was not one person I recognised. It must be his MMA card. But
the MMA cards are the main cards. The full Muay Thai cards are the smaller cards. Yeah. Like in the sport, even the fighters, they don't really understand the fights in their own promotion. Like I know, I can't name names, right? But there are fighters who fight on certain promotions that don't even know what the cards that week are about. When even if it's a very heavily promoted card, so that's where we are culturally in terms of sports watching in Thailand.
Yeah, it's interesting. It'll get there. With all this stuff, it just takes time.
Yeah. Like the one Lumpini bonus thing and the contract thing. Very basic concepts, very easy to understand, and now is widely known. Yeah, I think the more simple you make these concepts, the easier
it gets to understand. The more accessible it becomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to shows. We got
the ONE Chai versus Superbon second time they fight.
Was that January 27?
24th.
24th.
And then also on the same card, at first, the even more anticipated fights from at least what I've heard, Super Leg versus Nico, but Super Leg has pulled out and then posted that he's gonna. Well, he pulled out by posting that he's gonna be fighting in Japan, and then JP posted that Nico's fight is off, and then he deleted the post, and then I don't know what happened after. But basically, Super Leg is not fighting. He's now doing seminars, and Nico has a new opponent. He is fighting Nabil. You go first.
How do you reckon we'll go?
I'll back Nico, I guess. Power, right?
Yep. So what do I think about Nico and Nabil? I think Nico certainly has the power and the skills to take out Nabil. I think one of the troubles is going to be the range and the length of Nabil. Off camera, before the camera cut out for this section, I was likening Nabil to a guy called George Mann. In terms of length and range, he was a very difficult fighter for a lot of Australians to get around. Very similar to Nabil, but I think that the explosiveness and timing and toughness of Nico is going to be able to find his way around that lead leg. And once it gets past that, I think that's where he's going to be very dangerous. What do you think?
Well, I love both the guys. I just find it such a weird division. It's a division of freaks. In Thailand, they call it a division of monsters, right? There's just them weird characters. There's a guy who is 2 times the height of every opponent he has ever faced before coming into ONE. There's a guy who is 2 times stronger than everyone in the division. There's a guy who I'm talking about Nongo here, has 2 primes and now is in a third one in a different rule set. There is a Russian who jumps around the ring like a motherfucker. There's a Haggerty. and then there's a guy who came up 10 pounds from 135 to 145 and then knocks out the number 1 contender within a minute. It's such a division of weirdos, like absolute weirdos in the division. And then now we have a pork steak merchant, Potato from Thai Fight coming over. But back to the fight. I think the thing is, Nabil is taking this fight on a much shorter notice. And I know that we talked about how Thai fighters, you're supposed to fight like anytime, any day. In ONE Championship, in a rule set that is so much heavily focused on getting the first hit on your opponent. The first person to make a mistake is the person to lose. There's no room for mistake. There's no tuning up. There's no warm up during the fight. Every moment can be a stoppage, and there's no real progression of learning about your opponent throughout the fight like that. It's more about finding your first hit and then one shot, one kill, like JP likes to say. With Nico, he has been training. I think he I talked to him once or twice. I asked him yo bro, when are you coming over to the gym? So just friendly questions, right? He said, I'm here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm like, oh, so you're just here every day. You could have just said that. So the point is, he has been training this fight for a lot longer, and with his work rate, he must have been really prepared and in condition. The downside is he was preparing for Super Leg.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
However, I would rather take the guy who was training for Super Leg over the guy who was training for a fight that was supposed to happen a month after the fight is going to happen. So Nabil was supposed to fight Kiamran way after the Nico fight, right? So I would take the more prepared guy. He's preparing for Super Leg. It's not like he's preparing for some random tourist, right? So
no.
He's at least well prepared. At least he might be a completely different game plan, but at least he's well prepared, and I would favor that. And anyways, Nico has a higher caliber of fighting in ONE Championship, at least in those rules sets, than Nabil. Even with the same amount of preparation, I would have picked him anyways. Nabil did say after his fight with Solin Wu, his latest fight, that he would need around 2 or 3 more fights before he can face the likes of Nico, Haggerty, and Superleg. Now he's sort of rushed into it to save the day because Superleg pulled out. So I don't know how prepared he is for this fight. And you need to be 100% prepared for Nico in small gloves. So that's why I'm picking him. But I do love both the guys. I made content about Nabil before I met him at the stadiums. Really nice kid. However, I'm picking the guy who did stepped into my gym for a week. And obviously, with the reasons that I've stated, I'm going with Nico for that one.
I'm going to have to go Nico. Not of any other bias. I mean, was close with Nico and JP when they were over at my gym. Both great gentlemen. But seeing the way that Nico trains, I just, guy's a freak, man. Guy's a monster. He's more muscles than a fisherman's basket, bro. Like
so much muscle.
Yeah, bro.
Makes me embarrassed. Like,
well, how do you think I feel, bro?
I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Yeah. I got this Lao cow here. Yeah.
I had this before we did this podcast. So,
So,
what about the main event?
Main event, Tarban Chai. I think Tarban Chai.
The thing is, Superbon never lost a rematch. I don't think so. He's one of them cerebral masterminds in fighting. He's very smart, and as we have said before, he speaks it out too. I just think Taman Chai has like the style to beat him. Like it's like a bad stylistic matchup in Muay Thai we call Phe Thang, and I think that might be the case. Taman Chai does need the win though with his recent incidents in the ring, right? If you don't know what happened, he basically won a close fight against Jonathan Wood, who he was supposed to beat easily. He beat him in a very close fight, a controversial decision, and then he got booed out of the stadium. He damn near froze. It was uncomfortable watching him in that interview. And then he just went out the ring, and then we never saw him on socials again for
a
long while. Yeah. It became like, it's like Superleg became the biggest one star in place of Taman Chai.
It's one of those things here in Thailand, though, is like when you don't get the favor of the kangaroo court, you've got to like disappear for a while.
Yeah. It's not like in the Western world where you can ride off the booze. In Thailand, if you get cancelled, you get cancelled.
Yeah. You literally
get cancelled. Your view drops like mad, bro.
That's why we've got to be careful what we say on this podcast.
No Thai person is listening to this podcast. Before we end the podcast, the fight after. The one card on RWS, we got Petsila versus Petsaman.
That was the one that you were bugging to talk about. Why? Tell us why.
Because my bro Petsila finally getting the title shot. Ratchadamnern Stadium Super Bantamweight champion, 122 pounds against one of the pound for pound greats of the current generation, Petsaman. Why should you watch this fight? Petsaman was known as New Sanchai in the beginning of his career just because of how skilled, slick, and talented he was. He had some incidents. He went away for a bit. He came back and won 19 fights in a row. He only lost to Pratanchai in a fight where I think if the Western audience saw that fight, they would think he could have won too. Anyways, he is one of the best pound for pound. After that run, when he broke his arm against Budlong, which is what he does. But then he came back, he became the Ratchadamnern champion. On RWS, he had 3 5-round fights. He only lost 1 round. He's one of the best, one of the slickest. You should watch him if you have the chance. You need to watch him if you want to watch a high speed, skilled, talented, seamless combo style of southpaw counter striking, then Petsaman is your go-to. However, I am he's the champion, by the way, Petsaman. However, I'm rooting for the contender. As you can see, I have my gym's shirt on. Petsila is one of the first people I've ever met in this circuit 4 years ago. I'm actually, like, if you see his social medias, I'm actually editing for him right now, and I'm feeding him English And
Don't tell the masses that.
nah, it's no secret, but he does know the words. I'm like writing the scripts out for him, like making sure it does make sense. So me and you talked about you asked me about how I met Petsila and Warusha in the first place, right? So the full story is that I was a bored kid in uni that I knew I had no future in like the educational, like normal fields. So I started to watch a shitload of Muay Thai because I always watched combat sports. Well, I grew up on like pro wrestling on like WWE and stuff. And then I went to watch UFC. And then during COVID, I had nothing to do. So what I did was I watched a lot of Muay Thai because I see people like Cowboy Cerrone and all the UFC fighters use Muay Thai. And I find it completely embarrassing for me as a Thai person to, let's say I have a conversation with a UFC person and they're going to talk about Muay Thai and I don't know any Muay Thai, bro. It's so embarrassing. And that's the norm in Thailand, that Muay Thai is like a very obscure circuit far away from the great lands of the city of Bangkok, of the developed parts of the country. It's just a more regional, poor people thing. However, during COVID, I had nothing to do anyway, so I just started to binge watch Muay Thai, or even the old stuff, the current stuff, the recent stuff, the middle age stuff, everything, and I pretty much found a passion for it. So, when I went into uni, I just knew that I wasn't gonna do what I was doing for my degree as a future. So I just wanted to go back to something that I actually found passion for and something that I think can make money. And I think that it would be embarrassing if the country's national sport could not make money. As it's the same story I told on the last podcast, but basically the continuation of that is that I wanted to do content for Muay Thai, like online content, and bring it basically what all the big promotions are doing right now. I wanted to do in like 2019, 2020. So I started a YouTube channel. I wanted to like make content with the fighters and then have English subtitles in hopes of the Western world giving acknowledgement to it. And I had a list of like 5 of the best fighters in the traditional circuit. I think I still have it here too. The 5 names, 4 of them are like the top fighters. There's your like Litewada, you're like grade A S-class fighters from different promotions, right? And the only name that really stuck out was Petsila because he was a 16, 17-year-old undercard fighter. But at that time, I would watch like every single fight on every single show. I would try to remember their names. And for some reason, this happened to me so many times in my life where I see someone and then I know that, you know, like I know that I can do something in the future with them, become friends or have a personal bond with them. Like even like meeting you for the first time in the stadiums, I knew that I would do a podcast with you and you know, get along. I had that when I watched Petsila fight on some of them beginning cards, in the beginning fights of some of the cards on TV. So I wrote down Petsila's name, and by the time that I wanted to do content, Petsila was going to fight his biggest fight of his life against Satan Mönglek. Satan Mönglek is one of the most badass Thai fighters you will ever find in this generation. He has the heart, he has the grit, he goes forward, leg kicks, has a boxing background, nearly won a boxing world title, as tough as they come. Petsila, as a 16, 17-year-old, was supposed to fight that. And so I wanted a scoop of that. I thought it was going to be interesting. So I went to interview Petsila. I just hit up Phils. Phils is the gym owner. I just hit him up. I'm like, I want to interview your boy Petsila, like some random outside the Muay Thai circuit. And then Phil gave me a phone call, asked me where I came from, blah, blah, blah. Went to the gym and Petsila was pretty much the first person I ever met, the first fighter at least, in the Muay Thai circuit. And then we did a video, a very shit one, because I had no like editing, no like background in terms of media. I learned all this through experience.
Science.
Obviously, it was a video in the beginning, but he was the first fighter I ever met. So in a way, he introduced me into Muay Thai, because without him, I would have gone to a different gym who wouldn't have really taken me in, like the gym Warusha. So in a way, I sort of owe him to make him popular because he did introduce me into the circuit. I would put it like this: RWS gave me my first shot in the circuit. Well, Uresha opened the gates into the circuit for me, but Petzila was the first hand I ever shook in the circuit. So in a way, especially for a fight this big, I do sort of owe him a favor in making him as popular and as well known as possible. One of the reasons I say that is because he is extremely underrated, and he is underrated because during that come up, it was during lockdown. So there's no media, there's no international exposure, there's no nothing. He came up during the silent era. He came up when there were no people in the crowd, and when they once were, he was already on top, and then he has to fight all the tough fighters like Kumandoy, and obviously you would lose some that you would lose against Sao Egg, you would lose against the top fighters, especially if you came up this early, this quickly, this young. So he's extremely underrated in that sense, and I do feel like with the knowledge and now the following that I have, I want to give him as much platform as possible. And he also has this eagerness to learn. He always wanted to learn English. He and also wants to get better in terms of fighting too. It's very responsible. One thing I do owe him is that you know how these fighters can so easily let you down, right? They can. There are so many cases. I don't know if it's a thing in the foreign world, but some fighters, they come to championship level, run away from their gyms, take dives. It's very normal for a fighter to let you down like that. Sometimes they don't even train anymore. They start doing drugs. They can let you down in a million ways, and this kid hasn't let me down yet, at least. And that is something that is I am very grateful for. So as long as he keeps training like this and keeps performing, keeps staying humble, keeps his feet on the ground like this, I will always like treat him like a little bro and try to support him as much as possible. And now with the opportunity that he is getting this end of the month against one of the best pound for pound fighter in the world, it's like it's a dream come true. And I do feel like I have, especially now that I have no job right now, so I have all the time in the world to help promote him. Yeah, I want to make that fight as big as possible. So if you are watching this podcast right now, 25th of January, tune in. If you're in Thailand, Workpoint TV, it is also on YouTube, I think, and then on DAZN for the lovely English commentary team of Aaron and Peter, and formerly Joe Comerford. I will try to make as much content about that fight as possible in support of him. And I think it's going to be a really good fight. Two technical southpaws. Petsaman, I will admit, has the experience, has the speed advantage, has the power advantage because he's in that weight class far longer than Petzila has. And also in a better winning streak. Well, he lost to Yagatanyu, but in a better form. Petzila lost his latest fight in a close, controversial way. So who do I think will win this fight? Everyone in the world will say Petsaman. Petsaman, why did you make this matchup? Petsaman is going to win. This is a mismatch. Petsaman will win and make it easy. That's what all the comments are saying. So I'm going to be non-biased and say Petzila is going to win by knockout in the first round. No, I'm just joking. I think my boy can get it done. It's not like a 1-for-1 like that. It's not like you tick. No. Yeah. So Petzila is strong enough to make scoring much more clear, has the heavy strikes, and also has that game changer of an elbow that is like a hidden blade for him. He has knocked people out. He has cut people open with it. He has beaten top fighters like Satan Mönglek with it. He has gave Chatploy his first cut in his career with it. He has came from behind against Chachai with an elbow knockout. So he does have that. Technically, Petzila has never really lost a fight that clearly if we look at it round by round scoring. And Petsaman was able to pretty much school everyone he has faced and came up against. But Petzila also schooled so many fighters in the past before. So I don't think the IQ difference is going to be that big. Petzila is younger. I absolutely guarantees you that he trains harder than Petsaman does, at least for this fight camp. So it's a 1% chance, but I am a very big believer.
I mean, you've sold the fight for me because I mean,
Really?
even the fact that you said that he's beat Satanmung, like, man, he was a beast back in the day.
He's the guy who retired Tan Mung.
Yeah. So there you go. That's enough for me. You've sold me already.
Well,
I
not
mean,
really,
I was gonna
yeah,
go
but
watch the fight anyway, but I mean,
I think I might just throw up before the fight. Honestly, like.
don't do that. Don't do that.
Bro, I'm gonna get so fucked up during the fight. If you see me in the stadium during that event, you're not going to. I'm not gonna remember you. I'm not gonna remember our conversations. I'm gonna.
You won't remember
Bro,
this podcast.
I told, I told people that I'm gonna run around the stadium 5 times if Petzila does it. Bro, it's gonna be, bro. If he does it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things when you invest so much into a fighter as well. It's like, for those who are listening, I won't have this podcast out in time after this happens because editing takes forever. But, my boy Alfie, he's fighting for the Channel 7 belt this Sunday. Same thing. If he gets it done, man, like...
Yeah, shout out to Alfie too. Love Alfie.
I know you're a metal fan. Don't know if you know much about hardcore, but crowd killing.
Yeah. You're gonna crowd kill?
I'm gonna crowd kill at Channel 7.
They might put you in like Sitanya or some metal.
I don't care.
You don't care?
I will crowd kill. I will crowd kill at Channel 7.
Imagine like them gamblers' reaction when you see Big Joe coming for crowd killing. Channel 7 studio.
I'll just have Whispers. I don't know if you know the band Whispers.
Yeah, I know.
Shout out to Whispers, Bangkok Hardcore. I'll just be listening to their latest EP. Just killing. On that note, before I get myself in any more trouble, we might have to wrap it up because it's getting a little bit late here.
Yeah, it's a very long episode, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very long episode, but that's okay. It's a good one to kick off the year. The next episodes that are coming out, I have a very special guest coming over next week.
Who's that?
An Australian gentleman, Sammy Cass. I don't know if you know Sammy Cass.
I thought you were gonna say like Chad Collins.
No. I wish.
Yeah.
Chad, if you actually listen to this underperforming podcast, but we'll get it cranking. Big year this year for this podcast content. Your projects, my projects, everything.
Yep.
We're gonna crush it. So
hopefully,
make sure that you follow on Muay Thai Testament. Where else can they find you? YouTube.
Just there. I'll just leave YouTube for now.
Okay.
Just follow Muay Thai Testament on Instagram. Whatever comes out next, I'll announce on that platform. It's the source of everything, I guess.
Okay. So make sure you follow Muay Thai Testament on Instagram. Also, make sure you follow me at Joe Comerford Muay Thai. Make sure you follow me on YouTube, Joe Comerford Muay Thai as well. It's not really a great marketed name, but whatever.
It is what it is. Joe Bogan.
Joe Bogan, that's it. This is episode 29, first episode of season 3.
Season 3 now.
Season 3 now. 10 episodes a season. We're doing well. Well, no, actually, that doesn't work out. That's not mathematically correct.
15 episodes a
15
season.
episodes a season, whatever. So we're on season 2 still. But that doesn't matter. It's about getting these out there. So make sure you like, share, subscribe. Follow us both on Instagram. Make sure, again, you share, like, subscribe, all that jazz. This is episode 29, Chok Muay Chats. It is available on YouTube and Spotify. We are over and out. Sawadee Krap.